Thank you very much, MP Tracy Gray and other guests. It's an honor to be back in the Okanagan, where my family used to come for vacations when I was a kid growing up in Calgary. Merci beaucoup d'être venu aujourd'hui. Ça me fait plaisir d'être ici dans la région d'Okanagan, l'un des endroits les plus beaux au monde. Donc, malheureusement, ça va mal. Ça va mal à travers le pays. Après 8 ans de justice, tout coûte plus cher, le travail n'est plus payant, le coût de logement a doublé, la criminalité, le chaos, les drogues et le désordre sont communs dans nos rues. Et Justin Trudeau et les néo-démocrates essaient de nous diviser afin de distraire de tout ce qu'ils ont brisé. On l'a vu aujourd'hui à Kelowna, les données de la banque alimentaire, le niveau le plus élevé dans 41 ans à cause de la crise inflationniste que Justin Trudeau et les néo-démocrates ont causée. On voit aussi que Kelowna a le taux de criminalité au pays après 8 ans de Trudeau et les néo-démocrates, qui ont libéré des criminels les plus violents dans les rues et qui ont décriminalisé les drogues qui causent le chaos et des gens qui doivent vivre dans des tentes. Assez, c'est assez. On a besoin du gros bon sens. Il faut rétablir le gros bon sens ici et à travers le pays. Et c'est ce que les conservateurs de Pierre Poilievre feront. Nous allons ramener des prix plus bas en éliminant le taxe carbone, en gelant les dépenses et éliminant le gaspillage gouvernemental pour équilibrer le budget et réduire l'inflation et les taux d'intérêt. On va ramener des chèques de PDG en réduisant les impôts. On va bâtir des maisons. On va ramener des maisons abordables en incitant des municipalités de permettre plus de construction. Et on va ramener la sécurité dans nos rues avec la prison et non pas la libération automatique et conditionnelle ou sous caution pour les criminels récidivistes les plus violents. C'est ça le gros bon sens et c'est ce que nous allons ramener chez nous. Thank you very much, everyone. It is, as I said earlier, great to be here in the beautiful Kelowna. However, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say everything is broken after 8 years of Justin Trudeau and the NDP. And the people of Kelowna are suffering the worst from the NDP-Trudeau coalition. Here in Kelowna, we just got the numbers from the food bank. Highest in 41 years. Food bank directly attributes that to the inflation crisis. That's a crisis that Justin Trudeau and the NDP have caused. It's now $2,000 to rent a small apartment in Kelowna, forcing many to live in tents. Very large tent city now, right on the trail, which grows constantly. We didn't have it before Justin Trudeau. Before Justin Trudeau, that tent city was not there. That is the direct result of his inflationary policies that have doubled the cost of housing and driven up food prices faster than at any time in 4 decades. The catch and release criminal justice policies of Trudeau and the NDP have given Kelowna the highest crime rate in all of Canada, 10,000 crimes per 100,000 people, an astonishing amount of crime. That's 1 crime committed for every 10 citizens that live in Kelowna. That is the direct consequence of Justin Trudeau releasing the most violent criminals into our streets, decriminalizing heroin, crack, and other hard drugs, and wasting money going after lawful hunters and farmers rather than securing our borders to keep the illegal guns and drugs out. But the good news is, life wasn't like this before Justin Trudeau and the NDP, and it won't be like this after they're gone. A common-sense conservative government led by Pierre Poilievre, and with the help of brilliant MPs like my shadow minister for jobs, Tracy Gray, a brilliant a former businesswoman and MP for the area, and Dan Albus and others. We will bring home lower prices by axing the inflationary carbon tax. We'll cap spending and cut waste to balance the budget to bring down inflation and interest rates. We'll bring home powerful paychecks with lower income tax that reward hard work. And by bringing in a Blue Seal exam so that our brilliant immigrant professionals can take a test, prove they're qualified, and work as doctors, nurses, engineers, and architects. By clearing the way to develop our resources, including forestry. We're going to bring homes that you can afford by incentivizing cities to speed up and lower the cost of building permits. Right now, Vancouver adds $1.3 million to the cost of every new home by its delays, its bureaucracy, its building permits, and its charges. A Poilievre-led government will incentivize Vancouver and other cities to speed up and lower those costs so we can build affordable homes. And once again, young people, seniors, and working folks can put roof overhead. We're going to bring home safe streets with jail, not bail, for repeat violent offenders, by jailing gun criminals and sealing our border from gun smugglers, and stopping the endless and senseless assault on our law-abiding and licensed hunters and professional sport shooters. We're also going to bring in treatment, not free drugs, treatment, so that we can bring our loved ones home drug-free and end the tent cities right across this country. It's time that we unite around common sense, the common sense of the common people, united for our common home. Now let's bring it home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll now take questions from the floor.
Mr. Poilievre, over here, it's Brady Strachan with CBC. Should Israel's right to defend itself, do you think, extend to justifying cutting off electricity, food shipments to Gaza, even for humanitarian purposes?
First of all, this is, I think, the first time I've had a chance to comment in person since Hamas's unprovoked, sadistic, terrorist attack, the most deadly attack on Israel in its history. We unreservedly condemn Hamas for this attack, and our heart breaks for every lost innocent life, Palestinian and Israeli. Let's remember that every loss of life in this conflict is the direct consequence of Hamas's conduct. Hamas is a sadistic, genocidal, terrorist death cult, and it must be stopped. And unfortunately, its evil and odious conduct is responsible for all of the suffering that we witness right now. So conservatives call for the government to take action to counter Hamas any way we can. And one way would be to impose more severe sanctions on Iran, which is the sponsor of Hamas, and to criminalize the IRGC, which is the terrorist arm of the Iranian government that coordinates support for Hamas and Hezbollah. It is perfectly legal right now for Iran to use Canada as a staging ground for the IRGC, which is the worst terrorist organization in the world. And conservatives are calling for the Trudeau government to finally ban the IRGC so that Iran can no longer use our country to carry out its evil works.
Okay, next question.
Could you answer in French, please?
Évidemment, le Parti conservateur condamne l'attaque terroriste d'Hamas. C'est un groupe terroriste sadique et qui supporte le génocide. Toutes les tragédies que nous voyons aujourd'hui sont les conséquences directes d'Hamas. Il faut se souvenir que c'est Hamas qui a causé ça, c'est Hamas qui a ciblé des civils. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle le Parti conservateur revendique que le gouvernement du Canada contre Hamas de toute façon disponible, y compris en mettant en place des sanctions, des nouvelles sanctions contre l'Iran et en interdisant le bras terroriste du gouvernement d'Iran, the IRGC, parce que ce bras terroriste est responsable de coordonner Hezbollah et Hamas. C'est clair que l'Iran a été impliqué dans la coordination de cet attentat terroriste. Ça aurait été impossible pour Hamas à Gaza d'organiser un tel attentat. Donc, c'est inacceptable que le gouvernement du Canada permette le bras terroriste d'Iran de lever des fonds, d'organiser et d'opérer ici au Canada sans sanction légale. Merci.
Okay, next question.
Welcome back to the Okanagan. We're seeing in your advertising a lot of emphasis on your plan to axe the carbon tax. You suggest in these ads that it would have a big impact on food prices. Is it possible that you're overstating the impact that the carbon tax has on food prices? And secondly, what would a Poilievre government do to discourage dependency on fossil fuels?
Thank you. So the first question was, is it possible that it's overestimated? No. If you tax the farmer who makes the food and the trucker who ships the food, you tax all those who buy the food. And ask the farmers in this region what they're paying for diesel now. Diesel is an essential on farms. There's no alternative. You need it for you need it for combines, for tractors, for drying. Well, in the case of drying, it's mostly natural gas, which is also taxed. So that all gets passed down to the people who buy the food. I have a tomato farm in my riding where they pay tax on the CO2 released into the greenhouse, even though that CO2 is absorbed by the plant life. Apparently, Justin Trudeau missed that day in science class. But the Mexican tomato farmer doesn't pay Trudeau's tax, so it's cheaper to buy the Mexican tomato in Manotick, Ontario, than the Manotick tomato in Manotick, Ontario. Canadians are paying more for foreign food rather than paying less for Canadian food. I will axe the tax to bring home lower gas, heat, and grocery bills. My plan on the environment is technology and not taxes. We need to greenlight green projects like nuclear power to reduce our dependence on coal. Carbon capture and storage so that our oil and gas sector can put the carbon back in the ground where it came from, and we can become the lowest emitting source of oil anywhere on planet Earth. Oil, by the way, will be used at roughly 60 to 100 million barrels a day for the next 2 decades if you believe the International Energy Agency. So we think it should be low-emitting Canadian oil to bring home that money to Canada. We need to green-light tidal wave power off the East Coast, like the one that Trudeau killed in Nova Scotia. We need to green-light Quebec's plan to double its hydroelectric capacity. We can't afford 5 or 6 years of federal red tape blocking hydroelectric dams that are going to be necessary to supply the kilowattage to power an electric economy. So where Justin Trudeau and the NDP want to raise the cost of traditional energy that we still need, I want to lower the cost of carbon-free alternatives. That's the fundamental change that I propose. It's common sense. Let's bring it home.
Okay. Next question.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Madison with Castanet News in Kelowna. My question has to do with the crime rate. I know you mentioned Kelowna has the highest crime rate in Canada, and you talk about repeat offenders. You mention quite often jail, not bail. I'm just curious, what exactly would that look like?
So the reason I mention that is that Trudeau and the NDP have brought in automatic bail for repeat violent offenders. The BC Union of Mayors indicates that the same 40 offenders were arrested 6,000 times in Vancouver. So 40 offenders arrested 6,000 times. That's 150 arrests per offender per year. The police will tell you that those offenders commit most of their crimes when they're out on bail for their previous crime. So they get arrested in the morning, They say to the police, you know, can you make this quick? Because I've got another engagement at noon. They get released. They commit another crime. They're arrested. Then they're out on by dinner time to commit their third crime of the day. They laugh at the police. And this is a deliberate decision by Justin Trudeau and the NDP with Bill C-75. And we saw the spike in crime follow immediately after that policy came into place. So my common sense plan is to make repeat violent offenders ineligible for early bail or parole. It's very simple. They'll stay in jail where they can't commit crime.
Okay, next question.
Ron Seymour from the Kelowna Daily Courier. What do you make, sir, of Canada and Japan not being signatories to the G7 common statement on what's happening in Israel?
The 5 G7 countries, Germany, Italy, the UK, US, and Italy, all signed off a deal, and they didn't even ask Justin Trudeau. Can we be honest? They don't care what Justin Trudeau thinks. World leaders don't take Justin Trudeau seriously. They think he's a joke. He's being trampled on by world leaders all around the world. Look, when you look at Justin Trudeau at an international meeting, other leaders don't even want to shake his hand. He stands off in the corner while the adults have serious conversations. They know that he's decimated our military, that he embarrasses our country on the world stage, that he allowed a Nazi to be recognized at the state visit of the Ukrainian president, that he has no idea what he's talking about on matters of foreign policy. And they're tired of his pointless, meaningless virtue signaling that's backed up with no substance whatsoever. So right now, unfortunately, as long as Justin Trudeau's around, we will have no influence on the world stage. We need to bring in a serious leader who will rebuild our military, be a professional on the world stage, harness our natural resources, our energy as a geopolitical point of power. We could be breaking European dependence on Putin by selling our liquefied natural gas, but Trudeau blocks it because he doesn't think there's a business case. We could displace oil from Russia, from Iran, and other dictatorships if Justin Trudeau would stop waging war on our energy sector. We could be selling our civilian-grade uranium so that foreign countries could break their dependence on coal-fired electricity and build nuclear power plants. But these are all things that Justin Trudeau has failed to do because he is not a serious leader and the rest of the world looks at him as a joke.
Okay, next question.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Jaden Wozni with Global Okanagan here in Kelowna. A question from Global National today, actually. Scott Moe's government has introduced legislation requiring educators to inform parents if a child comes to class wishing to be recognized by a different name or pronoun. I guess Blaine Haig.
Oh, we lost you there.
Want me to just shout it? Oh. Also campaign in favor of the same call an election in New Brunswick. I guess, do you think there's a role for the federal government on this issue, and do you and your caucus agree with these policies?
I think I've seen Justin Trudeau has tried to stick his nose in these decisions. It's time for Justin Trudeau to butt out. Conservatives support parental rights. We believe that parents are the final authority in raising their kids, and parents need to be informed of what goes on in their children's lives. So it's time for Justin Trudeau to butt out and parents raise kids. All right. Thank you very much, Ron.